Welcome everybody back to an episode of Influencer Insights where we have Mel Bell from Coaldale, Alberta, which is just outside of Lethbridge, and she's joining us tonight from her deck, which in Saskatchewan it's almost dark and she's got some evening light yet, so it's good to see your smiling face here on the podcast tonight. So welcome, Mel. Good to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. I know we talked a little while. You had shared with me about your modeling experience and how you've kind of had some great opportunities, even out in Lethbridge and that sort of thing. So looking forward to hearing your story a little bit as we get into that tonight. So can you give us a little bit of an update, a little background on yourself? What's it like to live in Coaldale? Family, friends? How did you get started modeling? Any of that stuff? So
I am 41. I got three sons. Two are which pretty much adults, 19, 17, and 11-year-old. I got started modeling actually quite young. My parents put me into modeling at the age of 10.
Right on.
Not so much for the modeling aspect. It was more for the etiquette because I was the tomboy.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Was it like a local fashion show or something? How did you?
It was just a local agency in Lethbridge.
Okay.
So,
got together.
Wanted the etiquette aspect of the modeling, and well, that stuck, but I seemed to go a lot farther than what we thought.
Yeah, well, good to hear. You never know where those success stories sometimes start and that sort of thing. So, how old were you then, roughly?
I started modeling at 10.
At 10, okay.
Yeah.
So 10 years old, you were, was it walking on a runway or was it just taking photos at that time, or where did it go?
It was runway, couple of commercials.
Oh, cool.
And couple of clothing
stuff we could go find on YouTube if we wanted to go check it out, or?
I think most of it's probably not on YouTube.
Not there yet. You'd be surprised what's on the internet, right? But just never know where it'll come. So that's good. Cool. So you're from kind of the Alberta area. You grew up and you're kind of started a modeling career out there. How far away from Coaldale have you gotten to go modeling? Has it just been locally, or were you able to take some opportunities?
I've done local everywhere in Alberta. I've gone out to Toronto.
Oh, wow.
I competed in Toronto for Miss Alberta and Miss Canada.
Cool.
I am currently Miss Alberta 2021, 2022, and I did win Miss Canada Tourism Intercontinental 2021, 2022.
Very cool. How did you get it? The Miss Intercontinental one, that one kind of, I haven't heard of that before. How did you find out about that?
The pageants, actually, someone was on one of my sites, my Instagram, and asked if I'd be interested in running for Miss Alberta and Miss Canada. So looked into it and I thought, why not give it a shot?
Cool. And that took place in Toronto as well, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Toronto.
How long does it take to go through a pageant like that? Is that just like a week trip, or is it a couple days, or?
It was 10 days. So it was 4 days doing regionals. So like each province. And then it was 6 days for the nationals.
Okay. And how many people would have competed from, say, Alberta?
There was, for my title, there was 5 people that made it because they do screenings before you go up, right?
Okay. Cool.
So.
Right on. Very cool. What's your favorite site to go see in Toronto when you're out there?
Gotta say the CN Tower.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long ways off the ground.
Up there, it was pretty nice.
Is that right? Yeah. Get to see the whole city. So do you make that part of your stop every time you go now?
Now it's going to be, yes.
Okay. Right on. Very cool. And how many times out to Toronto? Just the 3 for those pageants, or?
Yeah, I've been out there 3 times for those.
Cool. What kind of helped you, I guess, pursue modeling and decide to keep in, like, you've been doing it for a few years now. And so what kind of has been the motivation or the drive to keep going all the way through that timeline?
I enjoy it. That's pretty much like it's my extracurricular activity.
Cool.
Like I enjoy the influence I have on people and young women. I enjoy the public speaking aspect of it.
Cool.
I enjoy just the whole aspect of it. There's a lot to it.
Yeah. 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 So you've done some shoots and some runways and some speaking. What kind of speaking do you get to do when you're modeling like that?
Well, I've done talks in school, and like for Miss Canada and Miss Alberta, my main platform, I chose to choose mental health.
What was your, I guess, direction in mental health? What were some of the things you brought up to people?
Well, mental health awareness and the stigmatism around it and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. Like myself, I suffer from really bad anxiety. So, and I have family that members that are bipolar and so on and so forth. So I
Right.
see how it affects them. I have lost someone to suicide,
Oh my. Sorry to hear that.
my youngest son's father. So that's why I chose to go on the line of, representing, standing up for mental health.
Yeah. It's terrible to go through those things, and it's unfortunate without having that awareness that sometimes you don't realize what people are going through until it's fortunately too late, right? So
Yeah.
So those are yeah, and that's awesome. Using your platform, your opportunities to shine light on those things, I think is such a great gift you can give back to the world, right? So
Yeah.
being a model for a while, you've probably seen some highs and lows in the industry working wherever you've been. Do you want to get into some of the low points and some of the things to watch out for if somebody else is starting as a model? Or
You just got to be very careful. Like low points would be pick and choose who you work with.
okay,
For
good.
photographers, pick and choose who you work with.
Yep.
Don't let them push you into doing anything you're not comfortable with.
Yep.
So I've been asked a couple of times to do some shoots that I don't feel so comfortable with, and I'll tell them like not happening.
Sorry, buddy.
Exactly.
Seemed to be a common theme. Do you have some general rules that you kind of follow when you're maybe meeting for a TFB, for meeting a photographer, that kind of thing? Or
We always meet like when we meet up for a photographer. If I've never shot with them before, I talk to other photographers I know and that will know them. Like I want to know who I work with before I walk into a situation
absolutely.
because you never know nowadays.
Oh man, world is a weird place.
I
Have you ever had any opportunity or moments where you just left the shoot or just got out of there and that kind of thing if things went sideways? Or
I have walked out of one shoot.
okay,
I felt really uncomfortable. He asked me to do some poses I wasn't comfortable with.
yeah,
And just kept on kind of pushing it.
sure,
And like, shoot's done.
yeah.
And I went home.
And do you mind if I ask how old you were at that time? Is that recent or was that a few years ago or?
That was recent.
Okay. Okay. My goodness. Yeah. I'm not sure if this being alone in COVID makes people do funnier things or not, but it's certainly been I've heard that story quite a few times in doing these interviews and stuff. So
Yeah, quite common.
okay, common. Yeah. Yeah. No. So definitely things to be watching out for if you're going to do a shoot, you're somebody listening to this yourself, right? Make sure you put those boundaries in place and
Yeah.
know what not to do. But
Mhm.
what's the most fun shoot that you've gotten to do? Like a paid shoot or what do you like to do?
I just did one up in Calgary. It was done as a paparazzi style. So it
Cool.
was done for a photographer I've worked with a couple of times.
Okay.
He actually teaches photography as well.
Okay.
So he hired myself and another model to come up and model so he could teach lighting and all that. So
Right on.
it was fun. It was at like one of the local parks there and outside, and there is about 15, well no, about 12 photographers. So it was
Okay.
done in paparazzi style, which you don't usually do a paparazzi style shoot, right?
Right.
So that was quite fun seeing all these different pictures when we got them back.
Yeah. 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 So you were obviously the celebrity and how many photographers came?
About 12.
Okay. Well, that's a lot of lights flashing at once, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So are those going to be photos we're going to get to see on your Instagram at some point or?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, they are on my
Very cool.
Instagram.
That would be fun.
More.
I suppose I had never thought about that before because you see red carpet events and you see people, getting their picture all taken. You think that's a lot of fun, but it must be a lot of stress too, because you've got people coming from different angles. And I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a lot of stress. You're trying to make eye contact with every single one of them
Okay.
at different angles, and it's just you don't really
Moving.
have time to react, and you get some pretty bad pictures too.
I would imagine. We all have those. Like, I mean, cool. Well, that sounded like a lot of fun. So, what are some of the, I guess, the big pros and cons of the industry as a whole? I mean, again, we've had a lot of people on here that are, maybe more recent to the industry and that sort of thing. But somebody with some experience, I'd love to hear what the long, big pictures look like for you, or things that you've seen evolve over the years. Good things,
um,
maybe bad things.
there's been a lot that has evolved over the years. Like, the industry, I like the industry. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
big because I did take 19 years off to raise a family.
Of
So
course.
I just got back into it.
Cool.
And it was like I picked up from where I kind of left off.
Oh, cool.
So it didn't take very long for me to get full back in the swing of it.
Found your niche and the people you wanted to work with, and where you went to.
Yeah.
If somebody was brand new and they were just going to start in this today, or they're thinking about getting into being a model and stuff like that, what would be some advice you'd give your younger self, I guess?
You know what? Go for it. Do the do the TFPs, get pictures done, get yourself out there, be willing to work with people that you're comfortable with.
Sure.
Try different things. Go for the experience.
Yeah.
You never know.
Life's short. Enjoy every moment, right? So,
Exactly.
do your sons model at all now that you're in the industry, or?
My youngest son just asked to start,
Very
so
cool.
he's just started. He did his first photo shoot, so
Cool.
we gotta make him up in Instagram and start putting that out there.
Of course.
So
Of
I
course.
got competition in the house now.
Yeah. You guys will be doing shoots all over the place now, right? Be this way and that way. And
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
very cool. Very cool. What's something that, people don't know about you that's kind of fun that maybe they don't see? Because being posed on a camera, that everybody's got a perception of you, but what are some things about you, personal life, that people don't know that you like to do? Or,
I Things people wouldn't know unless they know me. I am almost deaf. I do
oh,
wear aids.
okay.
I take him out for the shoot, and I read a lot of lips.
Yes.
So I have my full native status.
Okay. Right on. Cool.
So I've had brain surgery, which is a big
Really?
one.
What
So
kind of brain surgery? That's not
I
something everybody has.
cavernoma, which is similar to a tumor removed.
Okay. Wow. My goodness. So you're doing good and recovered and all those
Yeah,
things?
everything's all good.
Wow. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. What's something about you that, because like I'm a leadership guy, if you haven't picked up on that, but and part of leadership is, you're obviously the person standing up, you're being the person in front of people and putting yourself out there in ways that most people aren't. And a lot of that has a lot of strain on us mentally, right? So what are some
Yes.
of the things that you do to combat that? Do you have some daily rituals? Do you have things that you do to kind of get yourself psyched up, or what's that process like for Mel?
I I take me time almost every day.
Cool.
So it's if it's half an hour sitting there in the bathtub or just vegging out,
Nice.
my own thing,
Yep.
hiding out from the kids in the car.
Driving away. Yeah.
Exactly, sitting in the driveway in the car.
Right on.
But I need that time to myself
Mhm.
to recharge.
Sure.
So,
Sure. So have you found that, like being a mom and using, I mean, raising kids is tough, and I've only been a dad for 9 months, so I'm kind of like getting used to this whole thing. But you've done it for a while. Have you found that you time that you kind of practice while raising kids has helped you in other areas in life now that you've kind of developed those habits and that sort of thing? Or
yeah, it just makes if if I can take care of myself, I can take care of my children, my life, my passions a lot
mm,
better.
yes,
You
yeah,
need to
no,
make sure you take care of your needs before you can take care of others.
very well said. Yeah, very well said. I've got in my points here, and I know you've read the questions before, but I just asked about telling us about a low point in your life. Is there some area of life that you kind of thought about that kind of takes you back to a moment of I don't know, struggle or challenge or whatever?
My
Brain surgery.
low point was I was in a abusive relationship
Oh my.
for 3 years with my youngest son's father
Okay.
before he passed away.
Right.
So he was suffering mental illness and all of that as well.
Hmm.
You know, that would probably be the lowest point.
Okay. That's a pretty common story, and I think people that are, and it's, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I haven't quite decided yet, but I've seen a lot of people getting into the modeling industry and often looking for relationship and that sort of thing. And sometimes I think we're a little bit more vulnerable when we're looking and that sort of thing. So would you say that for young girls or that are getting into this, like watching out for those signs in a relationship is maybe important right up front, or
Just choose, you teach people how to treat you,
oh well.
is what I kind of go by right now.
Hmm.
Is you're gonna teach someone to treat you with respect, right?
Yes.
So you teach them how to treat you and don't put up with anything that you wouldn't want to.
Absolutely. No, that's good. Good. What was your support system like around you? I don't know, parents or friends or whatever when you're in those tough relationships. Are they telling you things that you don't want to hear, or how does that go?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh they they tell you get out, they see it, they but it's not all that easy.
Mm,
It isn't as easy as it should be.
hmm.
So,
How do you just because I'm curious, but how do you respond to that internally when people are like, hey, you should move that person out, or you should move on from that person, or leave them or whatever? Like, how do you internally you usually have some defense mechanism that says like, hey, I don't want to do this, or hey, they're
well,
wrong, or they don't understand, or
you defend them. You defend the person you love,
right.
right? If you love them, even though you know you shouldn't, or it's hurting you to love them,
Yeah.
you're going to defend,
Yeah.
right? So you try to defend it to your friends, to your family, and well, in the back of your mind, they're right.
That's the worst part.
Yeah.
what what was the breaking, I mean, obviously in that unfortunate circumstance,
Yeah.
he decided to end it himself, but I mean, were you at a place where, like, how did that affect you? Was that hard, or were you
Um,
ready to move from a relationship, or
when he ended it, we he hit me 3 days before he ended it for the
oh
last
my,
time,
oh
and
my,
I ended up saying enough. Like he was charged again,
wow.
and like we're done. I can't do this. It wasn't just that he hit me.
Hmm.
He was getting charged with attempted murder as well because he put his hands around my neck and strangled me till I passed out.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
So
goodness.
that's when I said enough. I got 3 boys. I don't want my boys to get this normal. My kids will never lay a hand on a woman.
Yep.
And it was done, and he couldn't accept that, or he couldn't handle it, and he was facing jail time this time, so he chose to do what he did.
Right.
So,
Right.
and
Wow.
when it came to an end, there was a lot of internal struggle with myself because you're thinking, it was almost like I kind of blamed myself at the beginning. But then you realize I have no control over his response. I can
Right.
only control how I respond to things, not
Yes.
how other people respond to them.
Yes.
So,
Wow, what a revelation that you have in that moment, right? When it takes sometimes long ways to get there, but that probably is a life-changing experience for forever now for you, right? So
yeah,
if you saw somebody else in that same scenario, what would you be telling them now?
I would tell them just if they need to get out. There is help out there.
Hmm.
There is agencies to help. I've helped a friend out of a
Okay.
situation like that
Wow.
because she had nowhere to go. It's like, well, just leave, come live at my house.
Yeah. Better
So
than being in that situation, right? So
yeah, and got them set up with agencies and places to go, and
awesome. Wow.
So,
Yeah. There's nothing more beautiful in the world going through a tough scenario and being able to turn that around and use it to help somebody else, right? So that's an amazing story there, Mel. So thank you. Thank you. What are some dreams of yours going forward now that you've kind of recovered and you've had some success as a model and your new mom is great, but that's, the boys are doing well on their own there too. So what are some ambitions now that you're in your prime there? So
um, now that I'm like where I just want to like see where it goes. Want to
cool.
see how far I could take it.
Nice.
I'll do it, keep on doing it as long as I'm having fun with it.
Good. Good.
So,
Do you have anything booked in the meantime or
I have a couple of shoots booked.
cool? Cool.
So,
Stuff we
but I
should be
try,
watching?
yeah. Well, I do work full time, so
Okay. Do you mind if I ask what you do full time?
I operate equipment at a food processing plant. So
Very
I'm a
cool.
hard hat steel toe girl boot.
Awesome. So you know how to play it tough and play it soft at the same time, right? So that's awesome.
Exactly.
Very cool. Very cool. No, that's awesome. So you got lots of things going coming up and going that way. If people want to get a hold of you, if they want to hear more about your story, if they want to connect with you, maybe they've got their own things to share and that kind of thing. They want some support. What are some good ways to get a hold of you?
My Instagram's probably the best to get a hold of me.
Okay.
It's
And
the_mad_Mel with 2 L's.
awesome. Cool. Cool. Well, make sure if you're listening to this that you go give Mel a follow and yeah, go give her some likes on Instagram. That always makes everybody feel good. So sure, check out some of her awesome photos. She's done some great work. I've seen it. So what are some closing thoughts when you're thinking about modeling and going forward and people starting in this and needing support? What are some areas that would really help or encourage others? So
Friends in the industry are great support.
mm,
Networking is very important. But
yes.
most of all, I find it's people holding themselves back. Take that
Okay.
chance, take that risk.
Right.
You don't know if you're not going to go for that audition. It's put
Who cares?
yourself out there and believe in yourself.
Sure.
Confidence.
Connor. Who cares what anybody else thinks, right?
Exactly. You only live once.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Cool. Well, that's a really good way to wrap it up, I think. And yeah, we kind of buzzed through our questions here, but I really heard some awesome stuff in your story there, Mel. And I really do appreciate you taking time to join us on this because, you know, the reason I started a community online for this because I saw that there's a lot of people that are feeling very alone and they're lacking that confidence and that opportunity to connect and network. So telling your story kind of boosts that for everybody else, gets that encouragement out and forces us all a little bit out of our comfort zone where we see somebody doing something really cool. So thank you very much for your time. And I guess we'll let you get back to your wonderful looking deck there and the beautiful sunset there. So
Thank you.
right on.